The Final Fantasy games are personally one of my most favorite series. With epic set pieces, summonable deities, and fleshed out worlds and characters, it's no wonder the series has been a global success. Within the franchise, two of the most beloved titles are Final Fantasy VII and its spiritual successor, Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy draws audiences in with universal themes and aspirations, such as good prevailing over evil, the idea that, at our core, people are fundamentally selfless, the exploration of pain and grief due to loss, and our connection to the world around us. Today, I'm going to dive into these topics, so settle in, get comfortable, and
Listen! I'm following your lead, I'm following the feeling. I'm conjuring the spirit, I'm busting through the ceiling. Hey, listen!
while good triumphing over evil is somewhat expected in most forms of storytelling, and heroic characters are expected to do, well, heroic and good things, Final Fantasy has a tradition of fantastic characters whose actions subvert archetypes of being purely good or evil, and have a subtlety and nuance that is often lacking in other games. Take Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. One of her first actions, one that happens off screen and that we are only made aware of after the fact, is that she lands her childhood friend Cloud a side hustle as the hired muscle for the eco fighters Avalanche. This is not the typical save the world type of heroic act that protagonists usually lead off with, and it gives her an air of authenticity that makes us want to connect with her because we know someone that's like her. Throughout the story, Tifa never undermines Cloud in front of the group by disputing his versions of the past, although she privately confides in Aerith that his versions of history aren't quite correct. And Tifa's selflessness is on full display when she helps to restore Cloud's fractured psyche by gathering lost memories from their childhood, despite these being painful for her since they dredge up the loss of her parents. An act that's made even more selfless in 7 Rebirth, considering that Cloud nearly kills Tifa during one of his psychotic breaks. Doe-eyed Aerith and Princess Garnet act in selfless manners that reveal the innocence of their characters. Aerith spends her childhood as a test subject because she is the last of her people, but she chooses not to begrudge her captors, even remarking that, while she disagreed with Shinra's actions, employees like Singh seemed to go out of their way to ensure that she and her mother were well cared for. Garnet, meanwhile, chooses to leave a life of royal luxury to live as a vagabond in the hopes of finding a cure for the psychosis that she believes her mother is afflicted with. Going so far as to have herself kidnapped, unfortunately, Garnet's short-sightedness results in her friendly captors having their ship and home destroyed, several being injured, and Blank being turned to stone while aiding in her escape from the evil forest. Similarly, Aerith exchanges the freedom provided by her mother's sacrifice in order to protect Marlene from the Sector 7 plate collapse. However, these naive acts of selflessness are actually what end up creating more danger for our protagonists, despite their good intentions. In this case, by putting Aerith back in the hands of Hojo and forcing our protagonists to assault Shinra HQ. Misguided deeds causing trouble is one thing, but Final Fantasy's average Joe succumbing to their demons is a horrifying art. While the series does have several straightforward instances of loss, such as Tifa's father being murdered by Sephiroth, Dine's psychotic break leads him on a murderous rampage as he seeks death after Shinra destroyed his town and seemingly killed his family. Another tragic tale found within these beloved titles is the PTSD that Royal Knight Steiner and General Beatrix must endure as they are forced to choose between harming and killing innocent civilians or betraying their sacred vows to serve their now corrupted queen. Zidane and Cloud both have the devastating realizations that they're functionally just empty husks designed to be implanted with the soul and will of another, and that their actions throughout their journeys were actually puppeteered to further the goals of a malevolent being. Vivi has an existential crisis when he learns that he is a manufactured life form designed as a weapon of war, and with a callously short life expectancy, as most were expected to fall in battle. But Square Enix's cruelest tragedy is the story of Freya Crescent. Freya is a Barmecian Dragoon Knight, quite possibly the only female one ever, and fights alongside her love and mentor, Sir Fratley. However, 2 years prior to the events of the story, nearby kingdoms started a concerning escalation in amassing powers. Sir Fratley left Bermecia to help keep the peace, promising Freya that he would one day return to her. Freya, you are going to be fine. Trust in your strength and have faith in your destiny. Once I complete my journey around the world, I will return to Bermecia. Sadly, Fratley did not return, and after 2 years of waiting, Freya forsakes her role in the Bermecian military in order to search for her lost love. Finding no trace of him, aside from some rumors of his death, Freya dejectedly heads to join Lindblom's Festival of the Hunt. At the festival, she unites with her old friend Zidane, but the happy reunion is cut short as it is revealed that Alexandria has launched a surprise attack against Bermecia. Freya rushes off to defend her estranged home, but is overwhelmed by enemy forces. When all seems lost, Freya is suddenly rescued by a mysterious dragoon who turns out to be none other than the missing Sir Fratley. Overwhelmed, Freya has an outpouring of emotions to Fratley, but in a brutal turn, Fratley tells Freya that he is stricken with amnesia and has no memory of her. Fratley then leaves a grieving Freya to continue fighting, defending the city. Although even this act proves futile as Queen Braun unleashes the destructive wrath of the Aedolian Odin, who obliterates the city-state. In one fell swoop, Freya's heart and home are destroyed, and her race is condemned to dwindle as a nomadic tribe until they fade from history. Her infamous quote, "To be forgotten is worse than death." The world itself also acts as a character in the Final Fantasy series, and themes of environmentalism and the relationships between man and nature are rife within the series. Much of the role of the planet is pulled from the Shinto tenets surrounding life, rebirth, and maintaining a balance between man and nature. The Cetra are the stewards of the planet tasked with maintaining the balance and protecting the cycle of reincarnation via the Lifestream. Similarly, although in a much darker turn, the Aoife tree functions to aid in the reincarnation of Terran souls by filtering out the souls of Gaia and dispersing them as the mist on the Mist continent. The weapons in Final Fantasy VII are manifestations of the world's collective subconsciousness that act as a last resort when protecting the health and balance of nature by attacking and annihilating any cities or towns that draw too much from the Lifestream, thus endangering the planet's well-being. Final Fantasy is not shy about telling audiences, both young and old, that we need to take a sobering look in the mirror in the ways that we use and exploit our natural resources if we want to avoid being the cause of our own demise. To this end, Final Fantasy introduces the Aedolians, also sometimes called Espers, Aeons, or the Guardian Forces, depending on the games, which are near godlike creatures tasked with aiding our heroes in their efforts against greedy and destructive powers, such as Shinra. However, Aedolians were punished for their own hubris in revolting against the universe's creators, and on occasion have been corrupted by the game's villains and exploited to cause catastrophic events. This serves to remind us that if we are created in the image of the gods, then the gods too must need to be vigilant of their base desires, and this provides a strange sort of comfort rather than a feeling of condemnation from the narrative. Or maybe I've just been thinking too deeply about all of this, and I should turn off my brain, enjoy a bit of slashy, spelly, limit-breaky explosions, and just enjoy myself. Let me know which Final Fantasy game is your favorite in the comments below. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.